Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're well. Same process as ever. We have mics on either side of the room. We'll take questions from English-speaking media first, please, and then Spanish in the second section. Just be mindful of how busy the room is, please. We'll start with Simon there. Thank you.
Pep, I don't think anybody expected this game to be a playoff game in the Champions League, but does that reduce the significance of playing against Real Madrid again? You call them the kings of Europe. Are they still the standard that everybody has to live by?
Definitely. There are few clubs in Europe that, for the history, for everything, always it doesn't matter where. In a group stage, on the knockout stage, always is difficult. We have not done, how we said, quite well in group stage, so we deserve to be that we are. So the draw is the draw, and accept the challenge.
Pep, it's the last 3 years you've met Real Madrid in the competition, and each time whoever's won this particular tie has gone on to lift the trophy. You've been involved in it, we've witnessed it, but is this the great Champions League rivalry of this current era, Manchester City and Real Madrid?
I don't think so. We are in this, I would say in the last years, yes. You know, we play 8 times, 4 times together. We have a good result, bad result. But we won 4, draw 3, lost 1, but at the end it was 2-2, go through. So in terms of the last decade, years, yeah, maybe, because it's not normal to play in the same rival all the time. But in terms of history, Champions League, at the end we cannot compare, to be honest. So against Madrid or Bayern Munich or Barcelona or Milan or this time of groups, elite groups that we have not been from the history, you know. In the last decade we have been around, but of course in the last years is I don't know, the draw all the times we play against them.
Pat, of course Real Madrid decided not to go to the Ballon d'Or award when Rodri won it. Will there be any hard feelings between you and them? Is there any hard feelings?
Absolutely not.
What were your thoughts of that when it happened?
Happy for Rodri. Vinicius made an extraordinary year as well, could deserve it, like in the past when Messi Cristiano was fighting for that. So, but the subject is over.
Hi, but when you've met each other the last couple of years, it's felt like quite a finely balanced tie, maybe 50-50. Do you feel a little bit more like underdogs this time, and perhaps the pressure is on Real Madrid more so than in the last couple of years?
I don't know. So I think both teams had the problems in terms of injuries during the season. I think Madrid handled it much better than us because still is top of the league and fighting against Atletico Madrid that show again one more year the consistency that they have. And Barcelona right now maybe is one of the best Barcelonans in not that period. So while playing this season is playing exceptional, and we can compare in the all Barcelonas, and still with that Madrid is leader. So with the problems that we had, so at the end they are a huge competitor, so we know it. We faced many times with them, and how in the tough moments they bring the best of them, we know it, and of course we have to make 2 good games to go through.
Hi Pep, in terms of getting your team back to the level you want them to be, how far do you think you are from the top level, and which improvements are you most happy with?
Listen, we are not being consistent. What defined that team in the last decade is we are an incredible machine every 3 days. So otherwise we cannot win 6 Premier Leagues in 7 years and do the incredible trophies that we won. And after we can win, lose because the opponents are good, but we are not being consistent. So that's why, of course, we can perform well tomorrow. Of course, we can perform well in Madrid. Of course, we can perform well at the end of the season. But before I can tell you, okay, it's going to happen that now, I don't know how it's going to react, because the reality is one. So we have not been, we concede a lot of goals. Always we're a team like through our game, we don't concede much in terms of goals and chances for the opponent. And this season, for the reason that everybody knows, we are there. But at the same time, I will not deny how trust with the players that gave us the incredible decade, all of us, like winning a lot of things and playing a higher standards, and I know we are capable of. So Of course, we're going to prepare today and talk with the team what we are going to challenge, and hopefully we can perform well.
Pep, Real Madrid obviously had a very good attack when they came here last year with Vinicius and Rodrigo. Obviously now they've added Kylian Mbappe to the team as well. How highly do you rate that front three, and what will be the key to combating them tomorrow?
Well, it's impossible in 90 minutes, 180 minutes or 200 minutes, depends on extra time to control these four players. Everybody knows, so I don't say anything new. They are exceptionals, so how they combine, how the runners, the ability in 1-against-1, how they keep the ball, so all four they are exceptional, so everybody knows it. So we have to reduce his involvement as much as possible, knowing that is going to happen, accept it. So I'm not expecting, because they have the courage to play. They have, of course, when they decide to play long balls, they are good. But after they have the ability, it doesn't matter what happens, to be present with the ball. It doesn't matter the opponents are close. They have the ability to keep it and make an extra touches and extra passes. And when that happens, of course, they can run. They can combine the shortest passes with the movements in behind. So we know it's going to happen. But in the same time, we are going to try to impose our game, to be involved less as possible with the ball, and be smart, and especially in the first leg, the way you have to play. It's important to read what the tempo basically we have to play to get a good result for Bernabeu.
Hi Pep. With a two-legged tie, normally you would want the second leg at home. With the way this season has gone, are you happier that the first leg is home to give you kind of more of a chance to get something in the first leg to take into the second leg?
Listen, to be honest, always better. I think it doesn't matter how about the second leg at home. If an extra time, your crowd is much better. But last season, 2 seasons ago, we were good. Last season, I think, except the first 10, 15 minutes, that they were really good. I think we played a good game, but we were not able. Listen, we played the second game away because we were not good in the group stage. When you finish 22-24, you cannot ask any favor. You cannot ask something that you didn't win. Always, I believe what happened in football, normally, that you have to deserve it, and we didn't deserve it. So we didn't do enough points in the group stage to not even start in the 8th first, not even close to that position. So that's why when the draw was potential Bayern Munich and Madrid, I thought it's what we deserve. So do it better, and maybe you have maybe another draw. But another draw in the circumstances we have in other team in the 9-24 would have been difficult, because of course we are, so I know perfectly. But the team have something special, our team, and hopefully tomorrow we can prove it.
Pep, given the way the season has unfolded for you in Real Madrid's strength in this competition, if you can win the tie, do you think it can be a confidence changer for the players for the remainder of the season? Do you feel that they really need to win this tie?
Of course, it will be important. We will be in the competition. We play in the next round. Well, of course, it will be a good boost if everybody come back and we are fit. But it's like I said, your colleagues, we were unstable this season when we were not in the past. So we achieve what we achieve in the trebles and quadruples, and you know how difficult it is. You know, they prove it. And every season in this country, especially, so it's because we were a machine. It doesn't matter what happened, we were there. Of course, we can lose at the last minutes, and the opponents are good. In the Champions League, we have many cases during these 9 years here. I've been here, moments that Tottenham's, or moments that in the last minutes we could go through, but always we come back. This season struggle a lot. Of course, it would be good to continue for the club, for the prestigious, to win this competition, but I like to feel that we are week by week, month by month, we are there. Now I would feel, the team is consistent, we can do it. Now it's like, I don't know. I know the game plan tomorrow, I know the way we want to play. I still have doubts for the selection, because they have still injuries and people come back. But at the same time, always in this type of draws and competitions, I'm so optimistic and calm, and we'll see what happens.
Last one in English, guys.
But always happen. You never know before the game was going to happen how they react. But always you have a feeling of the players that that players always is there. Now have a lot of injuries. Players are a little bit up and downs. So, but I'm pretty sure tomorrow the players are looking for the game. So we know against we play. For them, play against the players of Real Madrid. Real Madrid his history, like it would be in Barcelona, or like the names I've nominated before in the Champions League. Always is a pleasure. So we cannot forget that 1 decade ago we were not here quite often. And every year we have been in the last stages this season because we are not doing well in the group stage. We are earlier, but always we have been there. So for us is an honor, and hopefully our people can support us.
I'm going to move into Spanish, unfortunately. Just here in the middle.
Hola Pep, buenos días. Joel del Río del diario Marca. Has hablado antes de que este es un partido, parece el clásico moderno de la Champions, cuarta vez consecutiva que os enfrentáis. Pero a mí me gustaría saber qué partidos te han llevado más al límite, dónde has sentido más presión. Si estos de ahora con el City, estas batallas espectaculares que habéis aportado durante estos años, o aquellos recordados clásicos en los que os enfrentabais cuando dirigías al Barcelona, al Real Madrid de José Mourinho.
Bueno, han sido diferentes. Siempre había más ruido en Barcelona-Madrid que no aquí, por razones obvias. Han sido especiales. Creo que han sido buenos partidos. Fueron buenos partidos aquellos, con más ruido diría, y estos también han sido buenos partidos. Han caído 2 veces por un lado, 2 veces por otro, pero los partidos han sido bien jugados por ambas partes, con las fortalezas de ambos equipos, y ha estado bien. Creo que la eliminatoria va a estar chula, creo.
Hola Pep, buenas tardes. Miguel Ángel Díaz de la cadena COPE. Quería preguntarte, dices que dudas de que si tu equipo va a ser mañana consistente. Si ves al Madrid consistente, porque ya ha cosechado 7 derrotas esta temporada, si le ves más fuerte que vosotros, y luego si están ya adaptados las nuevas incorporaciones que habéis hecho en este mercado, y si te ha sorprendido que el Madrid no haya fichado.
No, pues, cada uno hace lo que cree que tiene que hacer. Voy a ser yo para decir lo que el Madrid tiene que hacer. Es líder en la Liga Española. Ha perdido igual más partidos normal, porque el Madrid también el año pasado perdió muy poco, pero sigue estando allí. Desde siempre, desde cuando hemos ganado, hemos perdido, siempre he tenido un gran respeto por el Madrid, por sus jugadores y por lo que hacen. No cambia esto por el hecho de ganar más o menos. No es fácil a veces cuando ganas Liga y Champions League volver a enchufarte. Las temporadas son muy largas, hay millones de partidos y a veces tienes que vivir unas situaciones para darte cuenta de lo que necesitas para volver a estar. Nos ha pasado a nosotros este año. Años pasados nos pasaba, pero siempre reaccionamos, pero este año nos hemos caído demasiado de lo que normalmente a veces nos caíamos en según qué épocas, y este año nos hemos caído más de normal, pero tarde o temprano había de pasar y ha pasado este año, pero aún hay cosas por jugar, competición aún quedan 4 meses y ahí intentaremos estar.
Hola, mister. Por aquí Alberto Pereira, Onda Cero. Tanto Ancelotti como usted han sido de los más críticos con el calendario y consecuencias. Tú has perdido el Balón de Oro para prácticamente toda la temporada. El Madrid le faltan un montón de defensas. No tiene ninguno de los que fueron titulares, nada más que Mendy de la final de la última Copa Europa. No sé si el partido que tienes mañana, cuando lo analizas, por lo que te preguntaban antes, de los 4 de arriba del Madrid, o te fijas más en todo lo que le falta al Madrid, igual que el Madrid se puede fijar en lo que le falta a ti que Rodrigo.
Bueno, nos ha faltado bastante más que Rodri. Si solo hubiera sido Rodri hubiéramos subsistido mucho mejor, que me imagino, pero el Madrid ha sido capaz de hacerlo y nosotros no, hasta ahora, digamos. Todo. Si no me fijo solo en su calidad de ataque, sino evidentemente también sus defensas, pero si lo han gestionado, al final el impacto de Asensio es bueno. La baja de Lucas no sé si va a volver a jugar en derecha o Carlos va a hacer alguna cosa. Mañana en la alineación lo sabremos, lo veremos, pero intentó todo. No solo, todo el mundo sabe, los 4 de arriba son Masieta Brahim o Arda Güler o cualquiera, todos tienen talento, pero no lo sé yo, lo saben todos los contrarios. Y atrás pues dependerá de nosotros de cómo estemos arriba, si le podemos generar problemas. También con con jugadores que han tenido el año pasado, incluso el año pasado que nos eliminaron por penaltis, o el anterior, incluso el anterior que perdimos al final del Bernabéu con la defensa hecha, también les creamos problemas. Es decir, dependerá de cómo estemos, básicamente.
Hola, ¿qué tal, mister? Aquí Javier Arraez de la cadena SER. Quería preguntarle si dos equipos que tienen grandes atacantes van a estar más pendientes de defender bien para poder pasar a la siguiente ronda. Lo digo por las bajas que tiene el Real Madrid, por lo que decía usted antes, de que han encajado más de lo que preveía este año.
Que nosotros. Sí, no, evidentemente. Hoy el fútbol moderno, si los de arriba no se aplican, es mucho más complicado. Evidentemente es un jugador de mucho talento, siempre es más difícil aplicarse en estas cosas, pero el fútbol moderno es así. Había el partido del Atlético de Madrid, de lo que es capaz Vinicius, Mbappé o todo, de sacrificarse por el equipo. Entonces, cuando eso pasa, es un equipo muy sólido, de lo ha sido los últimos años. El Madrid, el talento siempre ha estado, pero su disciplina defensiva es lo que ha marcado su diferencia. El partido del año pasado, lo bien que defendieron todas las acciones. Fuimos capaces en el Bernabéu de hacer 2 goles fuera del área. En el partido de aquí no nos dejaron ni acercarnos a permitirnos chutar de fuera del área. Estaban muy cerca, y esto es su trabajo con el talento que siempre el Madrid o el Barcelona, estos equipos grandes, o nosotros mismos. Nosotros mismos hemos ganado mucho porque hemos sido muy disciplinados en toda la fase defensiva, y este año no lo hemos sido tanto.
Hola Pep, aquí Sergio Horas para El Desmarque. El sábado, después de ganar en FA Cup, dijiste que esa victoria te aseguraba, un poco en tono irónico, que el presidente no te echaría al día siguiente. No sé si tienes la sensación, después de esta mala racha en esta temporada, de que te estás jugando el puesto en cada partido. Gracias.
No sé si a un doctor le piden que se está jugando el sitio, a un arquitecto si le piden jugar el sitio, si a un profesor le dicen jugarse el sitio, pero no. Sé que en los otros estadios me cantan que me van a echar al día siguiente por la mañana cuando estamos perdiendo, pero no tengo esta sensación. Creo que evidentemente estoy aquí y aún tengo el sitio por lo que hemos ganado en los últimos años, si no probablemente no estaría aquí. Pero creo que por la relación que tenemos seré yo mismo el que diremos esto, no le doy la vuelta y nos daremos la mano. Eso es lo que pienso hoy, pero igual mañana me echan a la calle. No lo sé. Pero si me pides esa opinión por tu parte, no sé si tiene este deseo, pero no tengo esa sensación.
Last question, please, guys.
¿Qué tal, Pep? Aquí Andrés Rubio de Televisión Española. El año pasado, antes de enfrentarte al Madrid, parecía que el Manchester City era el gran favorito. Este año parece que quizá es al revés. No sé en qué papel te sientes más cómodo, con el cartel de favorito o sin el cartel de favorito.
Bueno, cuando perdimos en el Bernabéu los últimos minutos y vinisteis aquí a visitarnos, eras muy favoritos. Entonces ganamos 4-0 el año pasado. Como ganamos 4-0, pues éramos nosotros los favoritos. Haced lo que queráis, lo que os apetezca decirnos. Sabemos que la eliminatoria será dura en los 2 partidos y intentaremos hacer 2 buenos partidos. El hecho de ser favorito o no favorito cambia poco. Veremos lo que haremos en el campo.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. No. This is going back.
Okay. Same again, please, guys. We'll take questions from English-speaking media first, and then move into Spanish-speaking media after that. Someone to start, Simon?
Hi, Ruben. Are you okay? Just in terms of this season, it's been very difficult for Manchester City. You've just had an injury as well. What has it been like in the dressing room as all the injuries have mounted up and the results have not been the way that the players are used to or want?
Yeah, well, I think since I've been here, maybe the most difficult season so far till this period. But I'm a firm believer that even on the most difficult scenario, the most difficult beginning, you can still do something and achieve something beautiful in the end. And right now, we're still in that position. Obviously, we know how difficult our opposition is and how difficult our way will be to get there. But I think it's a question of believing in what we have in the dressing room. And we have loads of guns. We just need to use them the right way. And with the right belief, we are able to do anything.
Hi, Ruben. You've obviously been involved in lots of huge games for Manchester City. We've seen this particular match played out and go different ways in terms of Madrid winning some, you winning some in completely different fashions. But in terms of intensity, is this the most intense game that you can play in a Manchester City shirt?
Well, it's different to call it intense. It's intensity. If you look at the Premier League, it's difficult to match that intensity. Obviously, it's one of the toughest opponents you can come across in the Champions League. But the game is different, and the game is more versatile maybe than any other. But yes, we definitely know very well what we're up against and what we must push on. And yeah, I wouldn't say this game can either be the most intense or not. Depends on where it ends up going. But it's definitely one of the toughest games you can have, most surely.
Hi, Ruben. It's well documented how Real Madrid boycotted the Ballon d'Or ceremony in protest at Vinicius Jr. not winning it. How disrespectful did you, as a squad, feel that was towards Rodri, who obviously won it and was a worthy winner?
Being very honest with you, I didn't spend 1 second thinking about if he was disrespectful or not. I was happy with Rodri. I was there. I celebrated with him that night, and I was very happy for him, as I believe everyone at the club was. Well, didn't really spend my time thinking about it.
Hi, Ruben. Since you last faced Real, they've signed Kylian Mbappe. Can you tell us how different will it be to defend against him, and how do you go about doing that?
Well, we've played against him many times before, and even then, it was not just him the main threat. It was Neymar at some point, then Messi as well. So we've had our encounters of teams that have that flexibility in terms of who can make the difference. And in the end, when you get to this level of the Champions League, that's what you get from Madrid or from everyone else. Obviously, we know that they have a special ability to be more flexible than maybe the most of the teams, and that's why we need to be really good and very solid at the back. The more solid we are at the back, the more comfortable we'll be in the game.
Hi, Ruben. A lot of this tie is probably going to come down to Kylian versus Erling. It's obviously going to be a big talking point. Erling's never gone 5 games without scoring against a team. Do you sense that he's really going to want to prove a point, A, against Real Madrid, having never scored against them, and B, when it's going to be billed as Haaland versus Mbappe, probably the two players who are kind of the Messi and Ronaldo for this generation? Do you sense this is the kind of game that is really going to get Erling going, and the kind of tie that's going to really get him going?
Well, personally, I don't sense any kind of Erling versus Kylian vibes in the game. It's a City against Madrid, and that's what it is. And obviously, there's loads of big names on both sides. And in relation to Erling, I'm sure that just like all of us, he wants to be in this competition and he wants to win it just as much as all of us. So I'm pretty sure that he'll be hungry enough to be there and perform.
Hi, Ruben. Since you last played Real Madrid, Kyle Walker's now left. He had some good battles against Vinicius. How much of a loss has he been to the dressing room, both as a player and a sort of leader?
Well, he was obviously a big personality, and especially when it came to times like these, he was always one to show up and show his face and be there for the team. And obviously, he was a player we all relied on. He's not here now, so time for another one to step up. And obviously, I think we've got enough names that are able to step up.
Hi, Ruben. Are you able to just sort of give us an insight on what your last few months have been like? It must be really frustrating to sort of come back and then have a setback. You've obviously been eased in this time. Do you feel like ready to play 3 games in a week again?
Yeah, obviously it's been frustrating, especially after my first injury. Then I came back, but then it was a death sequence when I came back. Everyone was injured. And I had to play all the games every 3 days. And then in the last one before, I had a week between games that would allow me to kind of breathe in a little bit. I got injured against United. And then, yeah, it's obviously frustrating to be missing out, especially in a period like this, in which you just want to be there and help and show your face and be there next to your family in the pitch. But yeah, you help in whatever way you can, and one of the ways is to recover as well as you can and as fast as you can as well. But obviously it's also a moment in which you need to be, I think, and believe very wise with the comeback, because you're getting into a moment of the season in which the train is going and you need to catch that train going. So it's important that together with the staff you take wise decisions in terms of game time, because right now, the schedules are ruthless, and you need to be wise. You need to be wise, and you need to be making the right decisions.
We'll move into Spanish questions, please, guys. Just here in the middle.
Hola, Ruben.
Hi, Ruben.
Ruben Cañizares de ABC.
A couple of years ago, when you beat Real Madrid 4-0, Pep said in the press conference after that you had that hunger to get revenge for what happened in the Bernabeu. I don't know if something's happened similar in the dressing room. When you're thinking about last year when Madrid beat you on penalties, do you have this impulse, this hunger, this drive to get revenge? I think ultimately what you say is part of what's coming. When we won the treble in that year, the year prior to that was very important for us, because that feeling that we had at that moment in the Bernabeu. And I think more and more the understanding of how good we need to be to win this game. Because sometimes you might think that 4-0 that we got was very easy, but it was a mix of so many things where we needed to be fully on our game. And that's what we need to do. In the way that we did last year, it was a frustrating year because we ended up dominating the game. But even so, we weren't able to score that goal that would have made the difference. Before then we went on to penalties. But this is the competition. We know who we're facing. We know that it's a team they play differently to us. You know, they're not going to make it easy for us. And for me, I think for all of us, we need to do what we do ourselves better than ever and fight more than ever, because that's how you win, in our own way.
¿Qué tal, Rodri? Perdón, Ruben Dias, perdón, Hugo Ramírez de Televisa Univisión.
I'd like to ask you about, is this the perfect moment for Manchester City, given the absentees that Real Madrid had at the back? Rudiger, Lucas Vázquez, Militao, all these players that are out. They don't have the most experienced defensive line. Is this an opportunity for Manchester City to take advantage of this and win this first leg? I think the first error that we could make would be to relax, thinking that this is going to give us an advantage. Ultimately, we'll see what happens. We accept it, we see it, but all we can do is we can only take advantage of that if we're at the level we need to be at, depending on the circumstances within the game. So I think that is what we need to focus on, to get up to that level. And then afterwards, to be there and to have that balance within the game, and perhaps those things will come in our favour. But we can't think about them being weak, because we know how dangerous they can be and how good we need to be ourselves. In the previous years, we've seen a fantastic fight between Walker and Vinicius. Walker did very well in that battle. And now, without Walker, is there a player in this Manchester City team who will be responsible for stopping Vinicius in this game, given Walker's gone? And can that be an advantage for Madrid, given that Walker is no longer in the side? Well, we don't know who's going to play. The manager will decide. He's not decided yet, but we do have options to do it. And more than anything, we're not thinking about one player alone, because those individual duels will be very important, whether it's against Vinny or the other players on the pitch. But it will be the collective action and the way that we behave as a collective, whether it's one-on-one or throughout the pitch, that will make the difference. Therefore, I think we have all we need to be able to look after him.
Thank you.